helps as well. Cold beer and that.
And on that note, this is Daniel Film for Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat in Liverpool at the Wasserman show here. Cal, it's very late, we're pressed for time, I'm very sunburnt, so we'll rush through this quite quickly. Thinking it quickly, Nathan Gorman didn't waste any time in getting poor old Thomas Salek out of there.
He certainly didn't, and Salek approved by the IBF for the international belt. Certainly weren't no pushover, but he was a knockover in round one. Incredible, really, really, really impressive, and I am very, very proud of him. 15 months out, it's a lot of weight on his shoulders, and he did it in style. He had Tyson Fury, his cousin, was there, and I think there was a great photo of them high-fiving after the knockout, and that was really, really something that I thought I spoke a million words, and I think he's on a journey to where he wants to get to, and that's at the very top. So I mentioned a few names, Dubois, Wardley. There's a lot of domestic names that are interesting, but of course we got a goal now, pushing them up them rankings, and we'll take what's the best route possible.
You mentioned there Nathan obviously had a very long layoff from the ring. You've touched on a couple of names. Another one you mentioned in an interview with someone else here was Ajit Kabayel. If you had to say which one of those is most likely for a big fight for Nathan, maybe towards the end of this year or early next year?
We've spoken with I've spoken with Eddie about the Wardley fight. It's a fight they'd like to do, it's a fight we'd like to do. It's a question of how we do it. I think that's a very possible one. I think Cash Ali is a very interesting one as well. I think Dubois, having just won the regular BA belt, will probably have some obligations, I'm guessing, and they're talking about another fight as well, which sounds also quite a good fight. I can't remember what it was again, but there was one that sounded like an interesting fight for Dubois, but it's not my business. But we'll speak to Frank as well, see what he thinks, and maybe it's one for next year only. But it's an L on Nathan's record, and that's why I brought it up. It's one that he's ready for now. So if that call came tomorrow, he'd be prepared to do it. So there's a lot of interesting ones out there.
Just a quick word on Josh Kalle, another man with a very long layoff. Just great to see him back in the ring, looking sharp as ever.
18 months, yeah. He looked sharper as we went through. I know it wouldn't go the full distance, but it was. You could see him sort of, although just like sharpening a knife, and I think he did everything he wanted to do tonight. He let out a lot of frustration, vented a lot of frustration in those punches, especially those 17 uppercuts just before the stoppage. I don't think I've ever seen that done before at that level, and it was great to have him back. And it's important for British boxing to have characters like Josh Kelly, faces like Josh Kelly, talents like Josh Kelly, because we're going to need them for the next generation of champions.
Last one for me, Kalle. You're off to Australia with Maurice Bradis, got a mandatory defence of his title. Provided he does come through that, he's been tight with these fights with British cruiserweights for a while now. If you had to pick, who would you say is more likely to get a shot at Bradis? A unification with the Kalle or a world title shot for Richard Riakporhe?
I think we're further down the line on the Kalle fight because, for no fault of Kale's or Eddie's or ours, we've just had the wrong sort of timing. We've been off each other's time. They fought and then we fought and we fought in between, and then we had a mandatory. It's a fight we'd love to do. I've heard that Kalle might be moving to heavyweight, so maybe that won't ever happen, unfortunately. But unless Maurice goes up to heavyweight, so I guess in terms of negotiations, we're further down the road with a Kalle. But the Riakporhe fight, if that's realistic, I don't know whether they really mean it. I don't know whether it's just tongue in cheek or they're ready for it. If they're ready for it, we know the people at Sky and Boxer who are looking after him very well, of course. We've worked with them in the past, and we can do it again in the future. So, it's a fight that we would be very interested to do, yeah.
That's all from me tonight, Kalle. Thanks again for your time, mate.